Hey everybody, this is Ethan, and I am doing the Dolphins, and I want to make sure that there is nice synchronization between my mouth and the words, so I'm going to do this again. But it's fine, because the Dolphins are a fun team to talk about, because they have the best trend in the NFL draft in this year to watch. Before I get to that, I kind of want to share my theory of how the Dolphins are building their team. I think it has a lot to do with who I could see them taking. I think that when you are a Southern team in an Eastern-based conference or should I say Eastern-based division, where all of the teams that are your strongest competitors or divisional competitors to begin with are cold weather teams, and you're going to have to go there at least 3 times a year, if not more, to cold weather conditions, and probably more. It is an imperative that you adapt to that and that you try and get some sort of cold weather dynamic. And the Dolphins are trying to build, in my opinion, a cold weather team in a warm weather city. A lot of their picks are either Eastern based or Midwestern based. You don't see them going out west a lot. The last time they went to USC, I believe it's pick Patrick Turner, who was a wide receiver out of there, and he really didn't make that much of an impact. And a lot of that was because of the athletic ability that he possessed more than the actual school fit. So I think that in terms of Miami, they will try to keep their picks Eastern or Midwestern. When I say Midwestern, I mean Big Ten, because they absolutely adore the Big Ten. Tony Sparano and Jeff Ireland must have an entire scouting staff of Penn State Nittany Lions, Michigan Wolverines, Wisconsin Badgers, because over the past 4 years, and this is actually goes into before when Jeff Ireland became the GM. He was an assistant under Randy Miller for a time. Of course, Bill Parcells part of this too. Miami took 4 Big Ten players, their first round picks. They took Ted Ginn, Jake Long, first overall, of course, Vontae Davis, and Jared Odrick. And this also, it also needs to be known and needs to be referenced that their quarterback, who they invested in for the future, Chad Henne, was also a Big Ten product. There is definitely a major amount of trust that this team shows in the Big Ten. Heck, even Cameron Wake, before he was Cameron, he was Derek Wake, and he was an outside linebacker at Penn State. They like the Big Ten. That's just how it is. Early in the draft, maybe even in free agency, there is something about the Big Ten that tantalizes this team. There is something about them, that conference, that makes players move a little bit higher on their board than other guys. So I think an interesting debate to follow in this year's draft is what's going to happen with the quarterback position. Chad Henne, very, very, very inconsistent. Dare I say it, he isn't that good. There are 2 trains of thought here, and one is divergent from trends, and the other is following trends. Divergent is that they'd use a first-round pick on a quarterback. Ryan Mallett, definite possibility. You could even see possibly they're at 15, so if they decide to trade up, maybe go for Blaine Gabbert, which is more likely than Mallett in my mind, but still not that likely. I guess you could see them trade down as well. But I think that if I'm Tony Sparano and I have any say at all in that war room, which he might not have a lot because he's basically on a 1-year leash. And I said leash, not lease. That makes perfect sense. If Tony Sparano has any say in that war room, he is going to push to take Ricky Stanzi as quarterback because he's the most pro-ready guy in this draft class. Ryan Mallett is not ready to take the reins of an NFL offense yet. No matter how great his arm is, and no matter how vaunted everyone says he's good at reading defenses, he's good at reading defenses, but he's not that good. And he is not ready to take the reins of an NFL team at this point. Junior quarterbacks do not have a great track record of succeeding at the NFL. There are already enough questions about Ryan Mallett's character that make you a little bit wary. Meanwhile, there's a chance that they could get Ricky Stanzi in the second round. Of course, they may have to trade up to get him, but that still seems a little bit more feasible than going for Ryan Mallett. And it wouldn't surprise me if Ricky Stanzi is actually their first-round prerogative if they traded down from 15 to, say, the Patriots pick at 28 if they decide to trade within the division, which could happen. Probably won't, but it could. They could also trade down a little bit before that, a little bit after that as well. I think that anywhere in that 26 to 30 range would make sense. And they could take Stanzi at the end of the first round. It would not surprise me one bit because he just fits what they love. He fits all of the possible um, measures that you could have for a quarterback. He even fits the Parcells measure. He fits the 24, 25, 60 measure, whatever that is. He fits basically any quantifiable and as well as the scouting things that you look for in a quarterback. I mean, he throws to spots, which is great. That's what Tom Brady does in the NFL as well. And he's intelligent. He can command a locker room. He has had to play in big games before. He's had to play in the cold before, and he can step it up. And he's has the experience and leadership to really bring something to a team. So I definitely think that despite whatever you're hearing, Ricky Stanzi may be the number one name on the Dolphins board. If they don't trade down to get him, and in most mocks you'll see you're not going to have trades because they are really a crapshoot. Um, I think that I'm going to personally give them Big Ten guys because why not make it 5 years in a row that they get one in the first round? Because it would be awesome, and I think that it would be cool if that happens. And if it's happened for 4 years, that's a trend. You should follow the trend unless there's like a really compelling case for other people. And there are other people they could definitely take. But I mean, Michael LaShore would make a ton of sense for them, even though this might be a little bit high for him. A lot of people see him over Ingram as number one back in the draft, and he has great athleticism, great speed, good power back who would fit into Miami really well. And they do need a running game because Ronnie Brown is oft injured and Ricky Williams is inconsistent. So he would make a lot of sense. They could also take an offensive lineman, maybe kick some guys inside, give some more versatility on the line. Maybe a Gabe Karimi. Or even some pass rush help from Ryan Kerrigan, who would be a great boon to them. I don't know if Koamisi's an every down outside linebacker at this point in time. So they could definitely use a guy like Kerrigan. Some other later round picks to keep an eye on. They do need another cornerback, perhaps, and they could use a project pick on one like they did with Nolan Carroll last year. Even though Carroll turned out to be more of a special teamer than a cornerback, at least in my mind. Chris L. Rucker would be a really interesting mid-round risk pick because he's had a few troubles in terms of his personality, in terms of off-the-field things, but he does have a ton of ability. If they want to go a little bit of a cleaner route, and they do like clean players to an extent, Chimdi Checo would make a lot of sense as well. He really athletic, but he doesn't have great tape. But I like him more than some other people, so we'll see about that. They could also use some wide receiver help. Greg Little makes a lot of sense in the mid rounds. Zach Hurd of UConn could be an interesting offensive guard type if they want to get some more depth on the line. In the linebacker scheme, Mike Nolan only has one linebacker who's under 6'2" on the whole team. Now, and that was Tim Dobbins. So they could definitely use another inside linebacker, and I could see a guy like Mark Herzlich moving inside from outside to inside and being sort of like a plugger, sort of like a Brandon Spikes role. He isn't exceptionally athletic anymore, but I think that he has the work ethic and the overall strength to be a good middle linebacker at the next level. I think that's probably the best route for him. In terms of blitzing outside linebackers, maybe a guy like Adrian Moten, Scott Lutris, if they decide to get one later. They have a lot of options at the position. They have a lot of options in this draft. It is a huge draft for Sperano, though, so we'll see how much say Sperano has in this draft. So that's all for now. I'm going to go. Tomorrow will be the Jets. Browns the Dolphins. Feel free to tweet me at Ethan Ham and comment if you wish, and I will get back to you soon. Bye.